Hey everyone, thanks for joining Aspire 2022. And in this case, our Could NetSuite Be Your Next Session? My name is Jeff Andrews, and I lead our NetSuite business here at Velosio. I'm based in Cincinnati and have been with the company many years, and I know I've met many of you in person on past Aspire occasions. So thanks for joining our session. Really, what we're going to focus on today, in the next 30 minutes, we're going to spend time talking about NetSuite. And many of you I know have heard of NetSuite. You may be somewhat familiar with it, and many of you have never seen it. So we're going to dive into the product. I'm going to give you an overview of its capabilities, give you some insight into many of the clients that we have on NetSuite and why they chose NetSuite, but really just kind of give you a flavor for what NetSuite is all about. Now, I'm going to cover a couple of slides here at the beginning just to give you a little bit of context before we dive into the product, but I'll do that pretty quickly. We do have time at the end for Q&A, so by all means, get your questions prepared, and we'll be able to answer those in real time right after the presentation. So thanks again for joining. All right, well, let's dive in. I think, since most of you are Velosio clients, you are familiar with what we do and many of our products, but many of you may not be aware that we offer NetSuite, and you might not be very familiar with our NetSuite practice. Just a little bit of history and context. So we started our NetSuite business about 8 years ago. At the time, all the solutions that we provided did not have a cloud-based offering, and many of them weren't close. So we went out, researched the market. We visited 4 different product headquarters and really determined that NetSuite was much further down the road than anyone from a cloud-based ERP. And I think you'll see that in some of the information that we cover today. But on this slide, you'll notice that we license NetSuite just like we do our Microsoft solutions. We do architecture planning so that we help you go from what the environment you're in today to a more modern environment. We do implementation, we do integrations, we do ongoing support, and we really do specialize in a lot of migrations, especially from GP and SL, as well as QuickBooks and NAV and many others. We also have partnerships with a number of different companies that you see there on the screen. As a company, we have partnerships with over 100 different third-party products. Sometimes these are referred to as point solutions or add-ons. You don't really need many with NetSuite because in a minute you're going to see there's so much native capability in the NetSuite platform compared to most other competitors in the marketplace. But if you do, we do have partnerships there, and you recognize many of those logos, I'm sure. We are an official NetSuite partner. We're called a solution provider and have been ever since we started this practice in business 8 years ago. And really a lot of what we do, you kind of relate to this next slide, but a lot of what we do is, and this is a real world example of one of our former GP clients, we help clients go from many different systems, and in many cases disconnected, where users are having to log into multiple systems, data is being synced back and forth between all different kinds of platforms. There's lots of plug-in reporting tools, and there's just limited reporting overall, and a lot being done on paper or in Excel. And in this case, this real world example of one of our clients, their current architecture now looks like this. And through that process, we leverage a tool called Discovery. There's a lot on this slide. I just want you to kind of use this as a reference that in our process of migrating clients from an older system to NetSuite, we look at all the different areas of the business and we help optimize and leverage the capabilities in a modern ERP like NetSuite. Now, NetSuite has a lot of capability, and on this slide and the next one, you're going to get a glimpse of that. This one's kind of high level. So whether it's finance and accounting capability, purchasing, order management, supply chain, demand planning, if you manufacture things and have BOMs, assemblies, routing, inventory, advanced warehouse management, including handheld scanners for cycle counting and advanced picking strategies, put away strategies, project management if you're a service organization, a full CRM included, and I'll talk more about that on the next slide, workforce management, so people management, e-commerce. NetSuite has an e-commerce platform, or if you're already on or want to run an e-commerce platform like Shopify, Big, Woo, Magento, Adobe, all those, NetSuite offers e-commerce, or we also have pre-built integration to e-commerce. And a full suite of tools built in for BI, visual workflows, and many things, which I'll show you as we jump further into the demo. And this slide now, again, there's a lot on this slide, and I won't spend a ton of time here. I'll let you kind of look around the slide, but everything you see on the screen is native NetSuite. From NetSuite, no third parties, no separate databases syncing data. And so you see a lot here, a full CRM for marketing, sales, customer service management, even a knowledge base, all your finance and accounting with automated AR, AP, of course, invoicing, bank management. There are over 300 standard reports, KPIs, and dashboards, full inventory management, including pick, pack, ship, demand planning, order management, project management, including things like allocations, resource allocations, project profitability, if you have those needs. And then everything below that dark line is optional if you need it. So if you need manufacturing capability, fixed asset management, advanced warehouse management for wireless handhelds. If you have ASC 606 requirements because you recognize revenue, maybe you sell software contracts or service contracts, and as I mentioned, e-commerce. So everything native, single database, single platform, single sign-on, and one user experience for your users. We'll also talk a little bit about mobile capability. There is a mobile app, Android or iPhone, and the users, based on their permissions, can get to everything right from their mobile device if there may be a field tech or they're traveling, and very easily conduct whatever they need to do right from their mobile device. Now, just a couple more slides before we jump into the demo. While the prior slide shared information about the features, this is about the platform itself. And I'll give you a high-level kind of overview of this, and certainly if you have any questions, you can ask in our Q&A session. On the bottom row, I would just say this is what we would say is table stakes. If you are looking at any platform and assessing your next, it certainly ought to do all of these things. It ought to be scalable. It ought to be hosted in one of the world's largest data centers. In this case, Oracle data centers. It ought to be secure, and it ought to have all the certifications for security and compliance. And it ought to be very stable, and you shouldn't be locked into a version. In fact, one thing jumping up to the top row on the far right, you'll see is that NetSuite provides free updates, 2 major updates a year and other minor updates. And all those updates are free. All the functionality in the standard product are all free as well. And everyone's on the same version. So you don't have to maintain hardware. You don't have to load or pay someone to load upgrades. There's no maintenance fees. It's all included in your license. The other things I'll point out on the top row is because it is a true SaaS cloud-based product, it's browser independent. So if you're on a Mac running Safari, if you're on a PC running Edge, or you've got some other device, you can get to it from any tablet, any desktop, any mobile device. And you'll see as I get into the product some of these other features like the global search, reporting, and other components. I will mention that it is out of the box multi-entity. So if you have multiple legal entities, that's one of the main reasons that our clients will move to NetSuite over other options, even other options that we offer, because out of the box, it's multi-entity, consolidated reporting, and you don't have to log in and out of different entities to do a transaction in a different subsidiary. You don't even have to click on anything. You just run the transaction, assuming you have permissions to that entity. And it also has automated intercompany capability, as well as multi-currency, multi-country, multi-language. The middle row is all the tool sets that are built into NetSuite and included, which really provide a lot of value. And I won't go into all of these, but if you have a need to integrate to internal systems or external systems, there are open APIs, which is called SuiteTalk. There's a visual workflow builder in the application. So we can, or many of our clients will build their own workflows to automate work, get that work out of email and into an automated solution so people know where things are at any given time. There's a built-in BI tool called Suite Analytics, which we'll touch on. And anytime you need a custom object, a custom field, you want to move fields around on a screen, that's all drag and drop. You do not need to be a developer to do those things. And so if you're a power user and you've, of course, been given permissions in your company to do that, you can very easily do that. So that's a big set of benefits and features in the NetSuite platform that help you really leverage the tool set, automate work, minimize a lot of manual entry, and streamline your operations. One last thing I'll share before we jump in. A lot of our clients do either have e-commerce with maybe their own website running on Shopify, BigCommerce, Magento, Adobe, Woo, etc., or maybe they're listing products on Amazon or eBay or Walmart, things like that. We do have pre-built integration with all of those and many, many more. So that makes it easy to deploy. And if you have those, you certainly probably know the things that would integrate, but customers, items, inventory levels, all the product descriptions and product detail pricing, sales, once they're made on the online system, they flow right into NetSuite. When an order is picked, packed, shipped, and shipped, the fulfillment will automatically be updated on the e-commerce side. Refunds, reconciliation, payouts, all those things are a part of those pre-built integrations. So it really eliminates a lot of manual work in maintaining your online presence. Okay. Well, if you've never seen NetSuite, we're going to jump right in. Now, I'm going to take you into the desktop. I won't take you into the mobile app, but I will tell you that you see an image there. It is a true mobile app. It's not just a squeezed version of the desktop app on a, iPhone or Android and hard to read. It is a true mobile app and gives you access to all your dashboards, all your customers, vendors, items, opportunities, anything you're doing in NetSuite that you have permissions to, point and click. It also, if you're an employee and have access, your employees, if you give them access, can make purchase requests, complete expense reimbursements. That's a native feature. And can also submit time if you have employees submitting time to projects or any other reason that you have people submit time. All right, let's jump over to NetSuite. So here's NetSuite. Now I'm logged into a demo instance, and I'm actually logged in as Carol Morgan, the controller. And I might move around between a couple of different roles so you get an idea of, well, what does it look like for the sales leader, or what does it look like for the CFO, or maybe the warehouse manager, just depending on your business and the different needs you have. But typically your employees, if you are on NetSuite, each of your employees would have a single role. And you can see in my demo instance, so that I can show you all the different roles, we do have pre-built roles that we would give you, as well as pre-built dashboards, which all these dashboards you'll see are our pre-built dashboards that you would get right out of the box. So let me give you a quick fly through of NetSuite from a dashboard standpoint. When you log into NetSuite, one of the first things you'll see at the very top is a global search box. Think of this just like Google. And I will tell you, different from many other platforms, which can only search certain objects, you can search any object, any element in NetSuite. So if I am searching maybe something, I'll type in the word black. I have a customer, Black Dragon. I have some contacts at different companies with the name Black in their name. Or I have a contact named Karen Henry at Black Dragon, a customer. I can also type in a number. So if I know an invoice number or a customer number or anything like a purchase order number, I can get right to those very quickly by simply typing in that number. Or an item. I can type in an item name and it'll pull up that item very quickly for me. So you'll see me use global search throughout the demo to pull up just about anything in NetSuite. Right to the right of the global search is my new button. So wherever I am in the platform, I can create things new. Now I haven't personalized this. This is a new demo environment that I spun up, so you could see how easy this is to set up. And so I'm just going to show you from a quick example here, where based on the things you saw there that I have permissions to, I can turn on what I might want to be able to create very quickly from anywhere in NetSuite. And I just said, I want to be able to create a new customer or an item or an invoice. And I can do that from there. To the right of that is help. Help is context sensitive. So if I'm on a screen and I've forgotten how to do something, I can click on help and that will take me to instructions or maybe even videos. Our YouTube generation loves to watch videos. I admit I'm one of those. And it'll make it very easy for you to get help on anything you need within the platform. All right. Below that is my navigation bar. And since I'm logged in as the controller, I see things like billing, customers, vendors, payroll and HR, financials, and on down the line. And we'll look at some of those. To the left of that, I have this, which is my recent transactions. So a lot of times you might be working in a few customers, a couple vendors, on a couple invoices or sales orders. This makes it easier for me to jump around and move back quickly to some of the things that I was doing. But one of the other benefits to NetSuite is you can see I've got my main dashboard open here. I can go out and I can open up by simply right-clicking and open in a new tab anything I want. I can have 2 tabs, 20 tabs, whatever I want, and we'll come back to this customer record in just a minute. But that makes it easy for me to quickly keep things open and make work very, very fast and efficient. To the right of that, I have my favorites area. So any area that I'm in, I can favorite, and those will show up here just like they do in any browser. And then I have my home, which brings me back to my dashboard. One quick element I'll show you here under preferences is me as a user, I can set many preferences. So you'll see those here. These are things like my email signature or my language, how I want to see dates and numbers, all the way down to if I want to enable click to dial. So maybe I'm an accounting, an AR person, and I'm trying to call for collecting past due invoices. Or maybe I'm a salesperson and I want to be able to easily click the dial so I can work down a list of prospects. I can turn that on right from within my preferences. Even change the appearance. If you're a fan of a certain football team or something like that, or a college, you can quickly change the appearance. But this gives you a lot of areas where you can set up alerts and things that are unique to you as a user. Okay, back to my dashboard. My dashboard is a very efficient way of seeing what I need to do today. So when I log in, the first thing that each user will see on the left-hand side is reminders for work that I need to complete. And just like anything on my dashboard, I can quickly personalize this, because if I don't really want to, I don't do new customers. I don't need to see new customers on my dashboard. I can simply turn that off and you'll see this go away when I save this. So that disappeared. So I can personalize this to see what is the work that I do versus maybe some of my other team members. And the idea of this work, and I'm going to open this in a new window, is get work done either one-off or in batch, whatever I choose. So you'll notice that most of my work as a controller, in this case, I have 2 to approve. If I already know about these and these look good, I can simply select all, submit, and they're all approved. So that's the idea. I'll close that window. We'll go back to our dashboard. That's the idea of being able to do work in mass. And that's true of all these elements where I've got things to accomplish, like bills to pay, invoices to print, vendor bills to initiate maybe through my bank. Now, let me show you one other thing on the dashboard before we go into a couple of objects and look at reporting. My dashboard gives me a real-time view into everything that I want to see on my dashboard. I can navigate to certain things, and this is all customizable. I can have KPI meters to certain elements like sales, expenses. I have KPIs, and again, all these are very easily modifiable by just coming in and saying, I want to add a standard API in NetSuite. And there's a ton of them. And this shows me a real-time view, and I'm curious, like, what's the trend of sales? Or what makes up that 1.4 million? I can either drill in or open in a new window, and boom, there's the summary of what I just saw on my dashboard. I can even click details and see all the details about all those transactions. So everything real time, everything drillable. And here's the best part. If I want to modify my dashboard and put something on it, I can click on personalize. I can drag an element wherever I want. You can see all the different types of widgets we have. And then I can set that widget for whatever I'd like to see. So getting to the data you want, being able to see real-time data is really a benefit of NetSuite. And all different kind of objects on your dashboard. You're not limited to just graphs or just lists, anything. All right, now that you've seen a dashboard and some of the elements that are on a dashboard, I want to show you a couple other dashboards that are pre-built for you. In my navigation across the top, you see billing and customers and vendors and financial. All of these areas are also going to give me a dashboard relevant to that area. So this is where I might go to create a new customer or look at sales orders or get a list of all my customers. But these areas, if I click on the overview, also take me to a dashboard of customer data. Which of our customers are our most profitable? Which ones have the most outstanding balance? What customers are we growing revenue with? Is our receivables up? Are our sales up? And so this really will give you now a drilled in view of key elements of our customers. Same thing with vendors. You may want to kind of get vendor scorecards and understand where are we buying more and which vendors seem to be turning around product and fulfilling our orders the fastest. Same with financials. I have a more tailored financial view with key financial indicators, all the way down to an AP dashboard and an AR dashboard. And so that should hopefully give you an element. My bet is, this is something you don't have today because most of our clients are on a legacy older ERP, and seeing this kind of stuff is just not possible. All right, now that we've taken a look at kind of a fly through, in our final 10 minutes, I want to take you into a couple different just objects. First thing I'm going to show you is a customer master record. So here's a customer called Black Dragon. And I see an overview of this customer. I see they're located in Madisonville, Kentucky. I can see who their sales rep is. If we are tracking other things like industry, number of employees, we've got standard fields for that. And I'm going to pull up another one in a minute, but if we had transactions with this customer, this is a new customer we haven't sold anything to, I'd see all of our transactions here, all the items they purchased, all the financial elements. So this is where we'd set their terms, and I'd see their credit limit. You can have, if they hit their credit limit, that their account would automatically go on hold. All the elements of that client. Now, let me go and I'm going to show you a list of customers, because this is what's referred to as a list view. And you can very easily modify all the views, all the reports in NetSuite. You can even save these. So if I want to look up maybe a different view, maybe a customer financial, show me the list of customers in more of a financial view, or maybe potential duplicates or things like that. And what's nice about all these views is I can sort, show me the client who has the highest balance. So if I just click on any of these headers here, it will then sort by that element. So let me actually flip it and show highest to lowest. I can also export this data to Excel. Hopefully you wouldn't need to do that very often. I can do highlighting in my views. I can even do editing in the list view. So maybe you want to update the industry or some other element terms, right from this list view, turn on editing and do that in mass. So that is a quick view of our clients. Now I'm going to go into one of these clients. We will go into PhotoList Foundation. And I'll give you another view because we have some history with this customer. So here you can see a little bit more of information about all the transactions we have. So everything in NetSuite is linked. If you have an opportunity from your sales team that turns into a sales order, that turns into, and has a fulfillment maybe, and then there's an invoice and a payment, everything is linked. So your ability to track everything and understand where it came from is very easy. But this view gives me a complete list of transactions. I can see items purchased. I can see who their sales team is. Are there any open opportunities? On their financial view, I can see that they are net 30. They have a credit limit of $100,000. Their balance is $23,000. And maybe they have some set, they get special pricing on certain items. That can all be set right here on the customer record. The other neat thing is for your vendors and customers and items, there's also something called a dashboard. So if you'd prefer to look at a customer from a dashboard view, which you can also personalize, like we looked at a minute ago, all very easy to do. Then you can see trending. Are we growing this customer? What are we selling them? In this case, they bought some servers. Are there any open tickets? If your customer service team is using this for tracking, we would see their open cases. Now, one thing I'll point out, since we're talking about, and I'll just give you one idea of a vendor, is that NetSuite natively comes with customer portals and vendor portals and partner portals. So if you do want to give any of your customers, I'll talk about customers for a minute, access to log in, see their open invoices, look at a statement, pay an invoice, look at their open orders, look at close orders, all those types of things. It is easy as a click. You determine who at that company has access. That will send them an email to log in. They'll set a password. And then the idea there is eliminate a lot of those calls or emails that are, well, I didn't get a copy of that invoice. Where is it? Can you send it? All that is native capability within NetSuite. So if I come into a vendor, just like a customer, I have a standard view of my vendor, what my credit limit is with that vendor, and I can even see all the transactions, items that they sell us, subsidiaries that work within that with that vendor, and all kinds of different um, other sub tabs here about do they want their POs emailed automatically. So the nice thing about when I mentioned transactions are connected is that when a sales order is approved, if there's something that you're selling them that you don't have in stock, that can automatically create a PO. And so you're not having to manually create all these. And when you create the PO, if their preference is that supplier or vendor gets an email, when you create that PO and save it, it'll automatically email that, um, depending on whether there's an approval step. If maybe we're ordering a lot, there'd be an approval step for somebody to approve, but it'll automatically go out and they'll get that via email with a PDF attached for what the PO is ordering. Now, I'll also show you one other element here related to vendors, which is nice. NetSuite, if you have inventory and you do demand planning or you'd like to do demand planning, I can set up all my different locations. And this demo instance doesn't have any items or locations set up, but reorder points will automatically, NetSuite will show you what needs to be ordered. And I can come in and say, yeah, I do want to order all those because they're below stock levels. I can tweak the stock levels that NetSuite is recommending, and then hit submit. It will create all those POs, email them all out at once. So you're not having to do that manually one by one. All right, I'm going to jump over to the reporting area for just a minute. We do have over 300 standard reports and dashboards. And one nice thing about this is if you're looking for a particular report and just start typing, it will show you all the reports related to whatever you're typing. I just typed inventory. But I'm going to go to our financial area and just give you an idea of a report. And here's an income statement. And I'm looking at my UK sub, but I'm going to change my sub to my US sub. And you'll notice in this demo instance, I have 3 different subs and a parent, the consolidated view. So my ability to see a sub or a consolidated view is the simple click of a button and refresh the data. And just like that, I'm looking at a consolidated view of all my legal entities at once. So that's native out of the box. If I want to drill in and see what makes up any of these elements, I can drill right in. If I want to maybe look at this, of course, a common one is by accounting period. Or if you have merchandise categories and you want to show this by merchandise category or any of your dimensions, single customer, look at a department breakdown or location breakdown, all that is point and click. And if you ever want to customize an existing report, that is drag and drop. And you kind of get the idea here as you step through maybe wanting another column of data. And I just drag the element over. I want to filter my data, sort, or even maybe I create a version of the income statement generally or not, you don't need to change it, but maybe you've got some other report, inventory report. Once you get it just the way you want it, you want to share it with other people in the business. You just simply select who you're sharing it with, hit save, and now they've got access to that. So lots of reports in the system. Hopefully that gives you a quick idea. Now, one of the last things I'm going to touch on, and there's so much in NetSuite, obviously, that we're not touching on, is analytics. So this is the built-in BI tool. And I'm going to go into a pre-built workbook. But the idea here is all the spreadsheets that you do today that you have to export data and it's stale the minute you export it. You do a bunch of manipulation, maybe some calculations. All that can be done in Suite Analytics in a workbook. The other nice thing is in our data sets, all of the NetSuite data, CRM, accounting, operations, even custom data, if you create a custom object or custom field, all that data is accessible and all the data joins are already built for you. So different than, say, maybe Power BI or some other tool. Power BI is a great tool, but sitting as a separate tool, and then you've got to push the data. And if you need data joins, you've got to do a lot of data joins. All that work is done for you. So if I go into my AR aging workbook and I want to look at the data that I built in this workbook, all that is accessible to me. And I'll show you what I mean. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to open up and show you one more thing called Suite Apps before we round out our time and open up the floor for questions. So let me, let's see, where did I just back? We'll stay here for a minute. So here is Suite Analytics workbook for AR and AR aging. Now it's crunching a lot of data because there's a lot of open AR. And you can see here's my spreadsheet view. And if I want to drag and drop data, if I want to move data around, I can simply grab these and drag them around, or if I want to filter. But what's nice is then I can create pivots or charts and look at that data based on any pivot or any chart, any trend graph. And what's even better is once I get this view, I can do calculations. I can share it with others in the business, but I can also drop it right on my dashboard. So anything you build in Suite Analytics is immediately accessible. And you'll see over here, when I look at this list, I have the AR aging right. I can drop it right on my dashboard. Okay, in the last 30 seconds, I do want to point out that there's a very large ecosystem of apps called Suite Apps, just like we all have app stores. Those are out there for you to look at. So I know we're kind of in our final moments. Let me flip back over and just reinforce all the capability in NetSuite, all the native functionality. And then I'm just going to wrap it up with this slide here. This is our methodology and our process. If you wanted to learn a little bit more about NetSuite and how we implement, we do have a standard kickoff to go live. We make the process very easy for if you were looking to migrate like many of our other GP and SL and NAV clients. We'd be happy to talk more about that. So with that, again, my name is Jeff Andrews. I really appreciate your time, and we're going to open up the floor for questions.